All right, everybody. Nate Fromberg here, working on part B of paper 2, I guess you'd say, the video discussion, obviously. I'm going to try to make this flow smoothly. It is a little awkward to be putting up videos, but it's been an interesting part of the class, so I appreciate that. For my paper topic, I decided to, well, after a lot of research, actually, there's a lot of bills to look at. I'm sure all of you guys had a lot of things that you wanted to look into when you were looking for a bill that discussed race or racial implications and ethnicity implications, I guess you could say. So I decided to go with Senate Bill 86, which actually isn't a bill, or it's a bill that hasn't actually been passed. So it's been proposed 3 different times. Actually, in the past 3 years, it's been proposed 3 different times and has been unsuccessful in passing into law in Utah. And Senate Bill 86, well, I'll just read it, it'll make more sense, but essentially what Senate Bill 86 is intended to do is make the hate crime prosecution in Utah, make that more severe. So instead of having, if someone's accused and prosecuted with a hate crime, they get a Class A misdemeanor. Instead of making it a Class A misdemeanor, this bill would actually make it a third-degree felony. So the punishment would be much more severe. I mean, obviously, going from any kind of misdemeanor to a felony has huge implications for you if you're convicted of something like that. So I'm just going to read real quick from the Salt Lake Tribune, just a little piece, little snippet that kind of gives you a really good idea of what this bill does. So Senate Bill 86, which would allow judges, which is a key component of this, it allows judges to actually increase the penalty for someone if they are convicted. So judges have their discretion in this, which is also another point where race could play a part in this, but it allows judges to increase the penalties for a charged crime if a defendant is convicted of targeting someone based on ancestry, disability, ethnicity, gender identity, national origin, race, religion, or sexual orientation. And so, that covers a wide array of people, and pretty much everyone is included in that, obviously. But this bill, I don't know if it's going to pass. I'm sure that it will get brought up again in 2019, but it just has not had the votes to get out and be signed by Governor Herbert. So this bill has been sponsored by quite a few people, but the Senate President, Wayne Niederhauser, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Senate in Utah, but he's the Senate President for Utah. He basically hasn't even brought it to be voted on because he believes that it just hasn't had the votes. So essentially, he's going through and getting a feel of what it's like in the Senate and the House. They don't want to waste a lot of time on bills that they don't think are going to pass. So he actually hasn't even brought this bill to the floor to be voted on in recent years, which is really quite interesting part of this bill. That they can't even get it to the floor when it seems like such an important thing to have. I just, real quick, I'm running out of time. I want to keep it under 4 minutes here so you guys don't have to watch a lot. But this bill, like I read before, allows judges to use their discretion to increase the penalties, obviously, for people convicted of a hate crime. So there's a few implications in that. When you're talking about race, if someone who is getting convicted is, I don't want to get into the whole racial problem there, but you can see that there could be a bias with judges for this bill. I mean, obviously, hate crimes are a very, very important thing in society. They need to be taken very seriously, and I think this bill would be better for Utah if it was passed. But at the same time, it also leaves it up to judges to decide whether or not that is going to be a Class A misdemeanor or a third-degree felony. And so when you leave it up to a judge, then you have to kind of look at it and say, well, is it fair for someone who gets prosecuted for a hate crime, to receive the Class A misdemeanor as opposed to the third-degree felony? And that's just all left up to the judge, and it just depends on which judge, and where they're at in their jurisdiction, whether or not they're going to decide to prosecute them that way or increase the penalty. So Senate Bill 86, that's my bill that I'm going to be writing about. I hope you guys enjoy this, and look forward to listening to your discussions as well and your videos. Thanks. Have a good night, guys.